Most skateboarders try to skate every chance they get, but that's not always easy to do. When you're young, you normally have to beg your parents to take you to the skate park or somehow convince one of your friend's parents to be the squad's personal chauffeur for the day. Once you get older and you have your own car, you can drive to whatever skate park or street spot your heart desires. But by then, you're busy with a girlfriend or boyfriend or a job or school, so it's hard to find time to skate. Not only that, but we're in a time where skate parks are getting flooded, filled with sand, and even skate stopped, so it's harder than ever to just get a good session. This is why having a backyard skate park is crucial for every skateboarder out there. Now, backyard skate parks can be expensive, but you'd be surprised at what you can build for just a few $100s or sometimes for nothing at all. In this video, we're going to go over how to build a backyard skate park without spending a ton of money. Even though skateboarders tend to be broke, they're always pretty crafty, so if you have any good tips or thoughts on backyard parks, leave them in the comments so other people can see. Be sure to leave a like on the video, and with that said, let's get right into it. One of the easiest backyard skate park obstacles you can build is a ledge. Compared to basically every other obstacle out there, ledges are in the sweet spot in terms of how easy they are to build and how many possibilities there are when you're skating them. Sure, there might be simpler ramps you can make, but chances are there's really only a handful of tricks that you can do on them. With a nice ledge, there's almost an unlimited amount of tricks you can learn. When it comes to building a ledge, there's a few routes you can take. If you're able to make a permanent ledge, you can use some cinder blocks, angle iron, and liquid nails to build a standard ledge that you'll find at a lot of DIYs. A great way to save money on this style is to try to find some cinder blocks for free, which usually isn't too hard to do. Then you just need to go to Home Depot or Lowe's, buy some angle iron for around $10, get some $2 liquid nails, and you basically have a ledge for under 15 bucks. Now, if you can't build a permanent option, you can always use wood instead. Of course, wooden ones aren't going to last as long and they're a little harder to cut cost on, but they do have the added benefit of being portable. If you can manage to get your hands on some old screws and some scrap wood, that will definitely cut down on the cost, but you might have to be a little resourceful to find some. Depending on which style and the size of the ledge you build, it usually costs under $50, which is a pretty good deal considering how much fun they are.
Dude!
Mini ramps are the holy grail of backyard skate parks. Growing up, just about every skateboarder dreams of having a backyard mini ramp. Most skateboarders would agree that every kind of obstacle can be fun to skate, but mini ramps just might be the best. Just to settle this, go ahead and leave a comment on what kind of ramp or obstacle you think is the best, and let's just see what people say. The only real downside to building a backyard mini ramp is that they can be a bit expensive. Also, your neighbors will probably start to hate you, but for most skateboarders, the expensive part is what matters. As far as how much it costs to build a backyard mini ramp, it really depends on a lot of factors. Whether or not you go with wood or concrete, the size, and the quality of the materials can all make the price vary. A normal price range for a mini ramp is between $500 and $2,000, but again, it really just depends. At first, this might sound like a lot, but that's only about 2 months of working a part-time job, which really isn't that bad. Since a backyard mini ramp is one of the more expensive things you can build, one of the best ways to save money is by thinking of it as a long-term investment. This means spending the extra money on quality materials and choosing wisely where you plan to build it. If you're going to build it outside, just spend the extra money and build it with concrete. There's a reason why every single pro with a backyard skate park builds it with concrete. It's guaranteed to last longer, and there's a 100% chance a wooden ramp is going to require way more maintenance, which will definitely add up over time. If you decide to build your ramp indoors, a wooden one can be worth it, but don't cheap out on the materials because again, it'll end up costing way more in the long run. A good old-fashioned kicker is for sure one of the best ramps you can build in your backyard. Ever since skaters started using launch ramps in the 70s and 80s, kickers have been one of the best ramps for skateboarding. Kickers are fun to skate, they're easy to build, and they really don't cost that much either. As with most backyard skate park ramps, it's hard to give an exact estimate on how much it costs because it really just depends on the size and the materials used. For example, if you use some old wood you found in a dumpster, you can basically build one for free. On the other hand, if you build a massive concrete kicker like something that you'd see at a skate park, it can easily cost a few $100s. The cool thing about kickers is that if you get creative when you build it, you can end up with a lot more than just a kicker. You can turn the opposite side of it into a wally, or add angle iron to the top of it to make a ledge, or even turn it into a bump to flat. Kickers can be a great foundation to any backyard skate park, and even if you already have a few ramps, it can be worth it to add in a kicker too. Mani pads are one of the easiest things you can build to skate, and they're also one of the cheapest. A normal manual pad usually costs around the same or sometimes even less than a ledge. Unless you put angle iron on the sides, all you really need is a little bit of wood and a few screws. Of course, if you want to make a concrete manual pad, that's a completely different story, but the majority of people aren't going to build a concrete manual pad in their backyard. Regardless if you go with wood or concrete, a decent manual pad isn't that expensive or hard to build, so if you want something to skate at your house, it's at least worth considering. Manual pads are pretty low impact, there's basically an unlimited amount of manual tricks you can learn, and it's just something simple that you can have fun skating. Anyone who's tried a manual trick before knows just how long a manual pad can keep you occupied, so it's definitely one of the better obstacles you can build in your backyard. If you want to build a backyard skate park on a low budget, you should definitely consider getting a flat bar. Flat bars are a staple at just about every single skate park, so it only makes sense to have one in your backyard. With flat bars, you can do grinds, you can do slides, you can do, basically you can only do grinds and slides, but they're super fun to skate. The great thing about flat bars is you can actually buy them online for pretty cheap. Keep in mind though that a lot of flat bars you buy online are poor quality, so make sure you get a good one that's going to last. If you want to save money while making sure you still get a good flat bar, it's actually not too hard to have one custom built. All you really need to do is buy some metal, and you can have a welding shop make you one in just a few minutes. If you happen to have a friend or family member that knows how to weld, you might even be able to have one made for just the cost of the materials. Flat bars are arguably one of the best obstacles for a backyard skate park because they really have the best of everything. They're relatively cheap, they last forever, they're portable, and there's thousands of tricks you can learn on them. Aside from building an entire backyard skate park, a backyard bowl is by far one of the most expensive ramps you can build. With that said, it can be a lot cheaper than most people realize. It's not too expensive to buy some Quikrete and rent an excavator for the weekend, and if you're willing to put in the time, you can have a pretty nice bowl without spending too much money. Think of all the DIYs out there. Skateboarders build concrete quarter pipes for just a couple $100s all the time, so there's no reason why you can't do the same in your backyard. It might seem like an unobtainable thing that isn't possible, but you'd be surprised at just how many skateboarders have backyard bowls. Of course, the bigger it is, the more expensive it's going to be, but for a basic bowl that isn't too deep, you could build it yourself for a couple $1,000s. Once it's built, you'll always have something to skate, and you'll never have to worry about crowded skate parks again. If you want to build a backyard skate park on a super small budget, finding some miscellaneous obstacles is the way to go. Things like traffic cones, parking curbs, and plastic barriers can all be great options for anyone trying to find something skatable on a low budget. You can find a lot of these things for free, and even if you do need to buy them, they're usually super cheap. Sometimes people get so caught up worrying about a massive backyard ramp that they forget how fun it can be to skate some random obstacle. If you look at some of the most creative skaters, a lot of times they're skating the most simple things. The point is, you don't always need a ramp that costs thousands of dollars to have fun. Sometimes something simple can be the funnest to skate, and you can spend hours playing around on something that a lot of other people wouldn't even think about. Now, you definitely shouldn't go creeping around construction sites looking for things to steal, but if you keep an eye out, you'd be surprised at just how much skatable stuff gets thrown away that people are willing to give to you for free.
That was even farther.
I slid from that A all the way to the end. Woo!
Most skateboarders try to skate as much as they can, but sometimes it's tough to do, so building something to skate in your backyard is a great option. Building an entire backyard skate park can be pretty expensive, but it doesn't always have to be. Skateboarders are known for getting creative, and if you're resourceful enough, you can build an entire backyard park for a relatively small amount of money. If you have any tips of your own on backyard skate parks, go ahead and leave a comment to help other people out. Be sure to leave a like on the video, and with that said, thanks for watching.